So if you're new to biking or you're thinking about buying a bike or you just want to learn more and you haven't seen Durianrider's video on YouTube, please check it out. I watched it about 3 years ago and I have never regretted it since. I remember I came across this video and I thought it was so weird. He was vegan, he was Australian, and he just kept saying, you gotta get a road bike, you gotta get a road bike. And I just remember thinking, like, if he's even a little bit right about what he's talking about, I am so glad I stumbled across this video. And then I ended up going into a bike shop, the first bike shop I'd ever been into, and I wasn't sure what type of bike I wanted. Wasn't sure if I wanted a hybrid, a road bike, a triathlon bike, anything. And he instantly just started trying to get me into a triathlon bike right away, and I remember thinking, whoa, these bikes are like $1,600, like, that's kind of expensive. I don't know if I want to spend that much. I ended up going home and not buying anything. And I went back to that same video. I took out pen and paper and I just started writing notes about everything he was saying. It is honestly the best advice I can give you is to do the same thing. If you're not sure what type of bike you want, if you're not sure what type of material your frame should be, aero wheels, or you need aero helmet, you need mountain bike, tri-bars. If you don't know any of these things, go check out his video. I'm just going to say a couple of his points that he brought up. At the end of the day, the cycling industry is just a whole lot of marketing hype. They're going to try to push you into getting carbon, and they're going to say it's faster, it's stronger, but really it's just more expensive. It's more expensive, it looks nicer, but if you're brand new, you don't care about losing 20 or 30 seconds going up a 10K time trial. You're new, you have never biked before, so why would you want to spend $500 or $600 more just right on top just because it's carbon? It's really essentially useless. It's kind of like the difference between cars now, how they're always made really cheaply and lighter, but they'll say in the advertisements how it's way more fuel efficient, it's way lighter, but really, it doesn't last as long, and you got to buy a car newer now. People always say cars were built better in the past. It's the same thing for these bikes. There are so many different options, so don't think you have to just go in and buy carbon. So some of the points are, obviously, he says to get a road bike because you got 3 positions to hold your hands. You can go up on the tops, down in the drops, and you can even go right across if you're climbing. That's way more comfortable than just getting a regular hybrid because you only have that one position. He talks about the cassette on the back of the bike and how it should be a 32, especially when you're brand new and you're not really sure how good you are at biking, or how maybe your legs aren't that strong yet. It's just going to make it so much easier and so much more enjoyable, and that's probably the number one thing, is you want it to be the most enjoyable as possible, just so you get back out there. Because if biking's painful and horrible, you're gonna quit this new habit right away. The compact crank is what he also recommends, so a 50-34 on the front, and that's also gonna allow you to have the most gear range. It's just gonna be easier. Most beginner bikes are gonna have that anyways, but just confirm that. Mountain bike shoes. So once you've been biking for a little bit, and you're gonna want to switch from getting just your regular shoes and pedals to some clip-ins. The mountain bike shoe has the clip inset, so it's actually still a flat bottom on your shoe, and that's just going to allow you to be able to walk around. So if you're biking around town or whatever, and you're shopping and stuff, you can actually get off your bike and still walk around. It's way more durable, way more convenient, and the same with that, you're going to want to get mountain bike pedals. After you buy a bike, the first thing you should do is get a bike fit. This is extremely important because, like I said, it comes back to the comfort thing. When you first get a bike, you probably don't know how to set it up for yourself anyways, but if you do try, you're probably going to screw it up a little bit, so just go get it professionally fit. It's going to cost you a couple $100 or whatever, but it's totally worth it, because then you're going to be in the exact right position you should be on that bike, which is going to give you the most power, the most efficiency, and the least pain. You got to go and mark all of your spots, so your seat height, your seat position forward and aft, the angle, same thing for your cleats and your shoes. If you mark all that stuff, you're not gonna have to pay for another bike fit. It's just gonna save you money. When it comes to the saddle, you should get what works for you. You don't want something that's super soft. What you want is something comfortable for the long term. And the long term is usually something that's like semi-soft to hard, and the harder is actually even better for the long term. And when it comes to actually buying the bike, you want to get aluminum over carbon because it's cheaper, it's more durable, and it's just the best entry-level frame type. But when it comes to the brand, you want to get one that's credible, and the best way to do that is just look at the warranty of the frames. If the frame's only 5 years, you gotta question why they're only given a 5-year warranty. It's best to go with one that gives you lifetime warranties. Those are Trek, Giant, Cannondale, just the big names like that. You know you're gonna get a good solid bike, and then from there you can keep that frame and, you know, upgrade your group set as you do that. I went back and I watched that video a second time. I took out the paper and the pen and I wrote down everything he said, and I went in and I followed that advice to a T, and I got my first bike. I would say I don't have any regrets. I was about 3 years ago. I don't have any regrets from that. The other thing about the whole bike industry is that they're always trying to talk about getting lighter parts, getting faster wheels, you know, lighter stems, lighter pedals, lighter shoes, getting tighter jerseys, getting lighter seats, lighter seat posts, lighter frames, everything lighter. But at the end of the day, the most number one thing you can do, and it's the cheapest thing, is just to get your body lighter. I started watching his videos way more, and I just kept noticing he kept saying all this weird stuff. Things like eating high carb, low fat, going vegan, raw till 4, whole foods, plant-based, just all these different things. The fat you eat is the fat you wear, and nobody's ever got fat from eating too much fruit or vegetables. And I kept hearing this message over and over, and I thought, this is kind of interesting. Like, why wouldn't people focus on their own weight loss over buying all these parts? And I ended up slowly taking this advice. It wasn't just from him. And over time, I ended up doing my own research about the health benefits of a high carb, low fat vegan diet. And it actually is amazing. I'm down 40 pounds since I watched that video originally. And I can honestly say that it is way easier to bike just being lighter. So if you want to look into that diet, you can definitely do that too. I'd recommend checking out Forks Over Knives. It's a documentary on Netflix. Or I'd also recommend checking out Cowspiracy for the environmental effects of eating animals. I'm never gonna say that you have to go vegan, because if someone had told me to do that, I just probably would have never done that. But I ended up finding out my own research for myself. So just, I would say, go educate yourself and make your own decision, because for me, like, it was the easiest way to get in shape, because I get to eat like 500 to 1,000 calories more every day, so I'm never hungry, but the weight just keeps coming off because I'm just not eating as much fat as I was before. When you're eating animals and dairy, you're just getting so much saturated fat in every meal, and then you can just cut that out and you still get all the nutrients you need just from a plant-based diet. Check that stuff out, and definitely check out Durianrider's video. I'll link it right there, and all the links that I've said already in this video are going to be down below, so make sure you go and check them out. Hopefully you can take these tips and Durianrider's tips from the other video and start biking for yourself and just really getting out there and enjoying it.